Kevin Kurz covering the best team in the NHL. How's it been in Philadelphia?
Yeah, it's been interesting for sure. I mean, I'm not sure anyone really expected this sort of a run coming out of the break, but they're just playing great hockey right now. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's been pretty remarkable. So we'll see if they can put it over the finish line. They still got some work to do here, but they're certainly in a good position.
Kevin, what's the energy been like on Broad Street at games? Because I know a lot of the success came on the road, but then I know they came back for that big weekend matchup. They had Lauren Hart back in the building singing "God Bless America." I mean, supposedly the building was as loud as anybody's heard it in forever. Like, do you feel like people are sort of back on this like excited bandwagon here in Philly with hockey?
Yeah, the Bruins game on Sunday, it did feel like that. There was a buzz in the building. You could tell early on that fans were there. There were more fans there for warm-ups than usual. I'm not sure how much "God Bless America" really resonated with the crowd. Frankly, I was a little surprised that there wasn't more of a reaction. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe it's the younger fans, or maybe it's the
Can you
fact
get the backstory of that? Like, I'm not familiar with that, to be honest.
Well, we grew up listening to Lauren Hart sing
every game.
I mean, go ahead.
Well, it goes back 50 years when they won the Stanley Cup, but then they played "God Bless America" throughout the course of you go back to even the 2010 Stanley Cup Finals against the Blackhawks, right? One of the big storylines was Flyers have "God Bless America" and Blackhawks have "Cheer the Anthem," right? But that's 16 years ago now, so. And plus the fact that there was stuff with Kate Smith that went on, so they didn't use the duet version. So that might have maybe people didn't recognize the meaning of the organization. So anyway, but the building itself on Sunday was definitely. There was definitely a vibe in there, a little bit more than usual. Frankly, the fact that it was a weekend afternoon game probably helped too.
Kevin, has the improvement with the team come more on the offensive side or the defensive side of the puck? Because I'm looking at the sports logic stuff right here, and it doesn't seem like they've played all that much better offensively, but they're scoring goals. Like they've exploded for goals the past couple games.
Yeah, I don't know what the numbers say offensively, but they're definitely better just with the basic fact that they have two guys in the lineup now that they didn't have even a week and a half ago, and Tyson Forster and Porter Martone, right? You've got two guys that shoot the puck, and this is a team that needs guys to shoot the puck more often. Those guys will do it. They both have size. This is was a pretty small lineup before those two came back, and even Alex Bump gives us more size too. Martone can get to the front of the net. Forster, we've seen him ripping goals already, 3 in his first 4 games, 2 last night. So that certainly helps. The power play still stinks, so that's something that they're going to have to work on. But
Kev, let me ask you. Let me just ask you about the power play real quick, and just stay on that for a second. Like, I'm watching the game yesterday actually on the plane, and it's like the unit jumps out on the ice, and Rasmus Ristolainen is out there at the top of the power play, and listen, he's a good player in the National Hockey League. Like I think he does a lot of good things, but you're not starting on even on an NHL power play when Rasmus Ristolainen is your quote unquote quarterback. Like, you need a facilitator that has no ego and that understands how to move sort of chess pieces around. I mean, the best power plays in the National Hockey League have one thing in common. Like, they have a great quarterback and they have one big shooting threat or one huge threat on their power play. I would say the Flyers have threats. Like, there are guys, whether it's Zegras, whether it's, even Michkov, when he's moving his feet, he's pretty damn good on the power play. But not having that quarterback, like, it's jarring watching Ristolainen take one extra second to make every play as the top of the power play. And I know it's not been him all season, but that's something that they really don't have. Like, Sanheim can play on your second power play unit, but you're still missing a true quarterback.
Yeah, and I think Rick Tocchet would admit that. He's talked about how he wants a big booming shot up there, and I know with Ristolainen it has something to do with the fact that he's a right shot, and they're obviously the way they set up. He wants them to be set up for the one-timers there, but they've been overcoaching this thing all year, and I think Rick Tocchet's done a great job all season long. But the one black mark on the season is the power play. and the fact that they haven't been able to get it going after this long, like it still shouldn't be this bad. And we'll see if it gets better because, like I said, now you've got some different pieces with Martone and a more effective Michkov and Forster there who can rip it. So we'll see if it gets better. But yeah, I agree, Colby. I mean, it's they had Jamie Drysdale there for a long time, and he's a little bit more mobile than Ristolainen, but he doesn't have as hard of a shot. So that's probably, and he's also a lefty. So, but at this rate, and Rick Tocchet has even mentioned that this is fixing the power play is going to be a summer project, and they're just going to have to try to throw some Band-Aids on it between now and however long they go.
Could Cam York not be that guy though? Like he was Michigan's
It's
quarterback.
not his game at the NHL level, but he
In
probably
college,
could.
yeah, in college
he probably
he was.
could. I think he could, but it just hasn't been his style. I mean, go ahead, Kevin. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, he got a shot there early on in the season. It looked like he was going to maybe run one of the 2 units, but it just didn't last. So,
it's hard to break. It's hard to break labels in the NHL. Like once you kind of get labeled to be something in your career,
An injury
it's
happened to step in.
it's really, really hard to break labels in the NHL. I think that is one fault that we probably have in hockey because guys' games do evolve. Because I do remember the days of Cam York running Michigan's power play. He does have great lateral mobility, but I just think again, you watch the really high-end power play quarterbacks in the National Hockey League, like they move chess pieces around. Look, Adam Fox. You watch him on the blue line. His eyes move that killer, and then he moves it that way and puts him in a more a better situation offensively. Like there's a method to it. Obviously, McCarr's a little different. He's more of a just go type. And I mean, listen, Colorado's power play that hasn't been the greatest thing ever this year at all. But and then you watch Quinn Hughes, and Quinn Hughes is like this methodical, maestro, just deciding where everyone else will be. So I think that that York in theory, but like Kevin said, like he didn't get a long run at it, but it didn't work long enough when he was in that spot earlier in the year.
Yeah, pretty much.
So let's talk about Martone because he looks. I mean, Ryan Leonard came into the National Hockey League last year with the same hype that Martone came into the league, right? And look, Martone is a lot bigger, just size wise, but even Ryan Leonard did not look great right away. He's still working on finding his game. Where Martone comes in, he's playing the same way he played at Michigan State in the National Hockey League. He's going to the same areas. He's having the same offensive success. He's making the same confident plays on the wall. Like on the goal, the Dvorak goal the other night. Like I know that for that level and caliber player, that's an easy play, but it's not an easy play on a rimmed puck because that just means your hockey IQ is advanced. That means you already know where the center is to make that no-look play. The confidence is there. I mean, like, are you surprised at just how good he is this quickly?
Well, I was listening to you say how good he is, so maybe I shouldn't be surprised. You were you were on that pretty often.
Colby said it's Martone's NCAA tournament, right?
I did, and I believed that. I thought he'd be here playing right now in Las Vegas, where we are. I really expected to see him here.
What was remarkable is that in his NHL debut, which was I can't believe it was only a week and a day ago, Tuesday in Washington. He got better throughout the course of that game. By the third period, he could have had a couple goals in that game by the time it was over. And then the next game, I guess it was Detroit. He had 9 shots on goal.
Yeah.
And it was, I think it was a new record for a rookie for most shots on goal in his first 2 games. But, he's come in, he looks confident. And Colby, as you said, that play he made to Dvorak in the Boston game. I mean, just having the balls to do that in that sort of situation, right? I mean, you can look silly. That's a difficult play to make. And if he's off, if his blade's just off 6 inches, I mean, maybe it's a turnover and they come back right the other way. So
it's a bad turnover that ends up in the back of your net, most likely, if that play doesn't work out.
That could look really bad.
Yeah.
And that's Hampus Lindholm on his back, who's a pretty darn good player, right? A pretty good NHL defenseman. So, Yeah, he's come in right away, and he gets that goal on Sunday, and it was a heck of a way to end what was the biggest game of the season, seeing him get his first goal. And even last night, he didn't do a whole lot of the game last night, but he still found a way to have an impact, and he made the pass to Zegras on the power play that gave the Flyers a 2-0 lead. So that's a sign that maybe in a game where he's not at his best, he still found a way to get on a score sheet and help produce a goal.
Well, I mean, on that goal too, like, again, he has the size and the speed to get out a little bit on the outside and lean on a guy. And when you watch the replay on that goal, and I don't know if you guys might have had it local too, but it was on ESPN as well. Like, I know sometimes this late in the season, they're not like exclusive in market. They might be local.
It was a Philly broadcast last night.
Okay, so they were talking on ESPN. Like, Kevin Weeks made a pretty good point, and they showed a great replay where Martone really sells shot there. Like, his eyes are at the net, and at the last second, he turns his hand over. And Zegras, like, the puck really, like, it's like a redirection from Zegras on the goal. But it's because Martone has that speed and that heaviness to lean on the defenseman, and just he waits and he waits and he waits. And look, like, in the NHL, you produce. And like that as a forward to come in and you're just adding goals that this team didn't have, right? Like, these are goals that the Flyers otherwise don't have. They never look back from that goal. I mean, they get those 2 goals early. And I know Jersey had a push here and there during the game, but I mean, they were in control. And give them credit. Like, once it got to 2-1, what'd they do? They got it to 3-1, right? They didn't let it get, ever get that close. So there's definitely a confidence and a swagger that the team has that I feel like Martone came into, and he's like, oh, like, this is perfect. Now it's like raising his level of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's he came into a team that was already playing well, so I'm sure that's helped him out. And let's not forget, there's still some veteran leaders on this team. It's still a young team, but you've got Travis Konechny and you've got Travis Sanheim here and Sean Couturier, and even some of the older guys they brought in, like a Luke Glendening came out of nowhere. It was a waiver pickup, like kind of an afterthought.
Great Faceoff
guy. He's come in. He's given the fourth line a boost. But yeah, Martone has come in and Tocchet put him on the right side, which is where he was most comfortable, where he played in Michigan State. And there's like I said to start, there's a lot of things going right for this team right now, and Martone and his sudden instant impact is certainly near the top of that list.
I also want to talk about Trevor. Obviously Trevor had that really hot start, slowed down a little bit. Like, he's still on pace for maybe a career high. I think he might have surpassed it last night. Correct me if I'm wrong.
In goals, yeah. He has a career high in goals now at 25, yeah.
And points is 65? I think that's his career high, maybe. But either way, he's flirting with the career high. And like, maybe this is me just kind of overthinking a little bit, but him seeing Jack Hughes get a lot of spotlight, him seeing Cole Caulfield now being on the verge of 50, like 2 of his best buddies, and like kind of the love and praise that they've been getting all year, like, is that kind of driving him as well? And are you seeing like a more mature version of Trevor Zegras come out than what we've seen in the past?
That's a good question about the other guys. I don't know the answer to that. I've never asked him that specifically, but I talked to him last night and I said, how much are you just relishing this opportunity to play in meaningful games and have a playoff push? Because he's never really experienced that in his career. And you can tell that it's something that is important to him, not just based on what he says, but Rick Tocchet mentioned it afterwards too, that, Zegras, he had a great quote that I tweeted it out, but he said Zegras came in, he wants to make the playoffs. He's done all the right things. He's been a great teammate. And he's fitting great. And you can tell that Zegras and Tocchet have had a good relationship from pretty much the outset. So I think Tocchet deserves a lot of credit for the way he's handled Zegras, right? And the fact that he put him in the middle, which is where Zegras wanted to play. I mean, Zegras even told a funny story about it right before the break. He said in a practice, he went up to Tocchet and said, hey, am I taking faceoffs today? And obviously the implication being I want to play center. And Tocchet said no initially, but then I guess they must have had a conversation afterwards, because ever since Zegras has been playing center and he's been doing a pretty good job there. So, he's going to be a vital guy. He's going to be an important part. But, the way he's played so far this year, I think it's obviously, you look at who's the MVP of the team, it's Dan Vladar, number 1. I think you can make a case that Zegras has been number 2, their second most valuable.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, Zegras got interviewed on ESPN by Eric Johnson, I believe it was,
Yeah.
and EJ asked him why and the success. And it's funny, like he was about to make, I guess I don't know what he was about to say, but he kind of was about to talk. He cut himself off and he was like, you know what? I just love coming to the rink here every day. He's like, the environment here, it makes me love hockey. And I'm paraphrasing. This isn't his exact quote. Like he really talked about the environment, the locker room, and what it's meant to him to like be brought here and basically believed in as a player. Yeah. And they're like basically probably like, hey, just be you. And that was where he went with that answer when Eric Johnson asked him, like, why are you playing so well, Kevin? And I thought that was a pretty mature thing to say for a guy that, look, I know.
You've heard the stories about Cronin,
I
right?
know everybody liked it. I know guys liked him. Like, I have buddies that played with him in Anaheim. They liked him. But they all said, like, he probably needs to get beat up once. I mean, like, that. Even the players who liked him, the veteran players were like, I love the kid, but he needs to get beat up. So to me, that was just a very mature and interesting thing. And Kev, you and I started the preseason this year talking about culture, and you found it to be really important. And you thought Tocchet was a great fit for that. And I remember even I was like, is this the right hire? I love Talk. And I just didn't know if it was the right time for Tocchet. Like, I've been a defender of Tocchet all year. I've never wavered on it. But remember, we were having that conversation in August last year in September, and you were pushing that, and you were like, look, I've spoken to management. I think you were right. Like, you were right. Not I think. Like, that is coming through right now, that dressing room and through that team.
Yeah, I mean, I know all those guys like Rick Tocchet, and that's his reputation as a player's coach, right? And that hire was made not just for the immediate term, but they also look at Tocchet as a guy that other players around the league want to play for. So when the time comes for this team to make a big trade, and maybe a guy's got a no trade list, and he considers what's going, that's why this is such an important year for the team. Not to get off topic, but they had to take a step forward this year because they do want to add more high-end talent. They have to, frankly, if they're going to take another step. And that means becoming an attractive place for maybe not free agents this summer, but at least for, maybe for a guy that has that no trade clause and sees, good things happening in Philadelphia, a young team having a good time, and a coach that they all like and respect and want to play for. So it has been a good fit. Tocchet got the main criticisms of Tocchet, or let's face it, is mostly because of Matvei Michkov and the way he's handled that. I know, Colby, we both think he's handled Michkov just fine. And I think the way Michkov is playing now bears that out. But
I know. He finally is finding his game at the most important time of the year.
But if the criticism was loud all year, think about what it's going to be like come playoff time for like Michkov and Zegras.
Well, I think
it almost could be a negative if the Flyers make the playoffs. I think
the Flyers fans now have a new shiny toy to obsess over.
Yeah.
And so I think that gives it honestly, I think it's probably good for Michkov. He doesn't have to be the spotlight or focal point of every question right now. Every question is going to be about Porter Martone, right? And so I think that, and again, like Forrester's back. People want to know, like, they're excited about him. And Bump is back in the lineup and has been productive. I know he was kind of a little in and out when they were figuring out where Barkey would play, where Bump would play. But
Barkey's great, by the way. I'm a big Barkey fan.
It's probably really good for Matvei Michkov to have Porter Martone here now. I really do, because it helps calm the star shine on Michkov.
And I wonder if Michkov looks at Martone and now he's I don't think he's an idiot. He's probably sure he can see that, like, here's another young. He's probably thinking, wait, this was me last year. This was everyone obsessing over me. And listen, there's still obviously a lot of people have very high hopes for Matvei Michkov, as they should. Yeah. I mean, we've seen in the last couple of weeks he looks much more like the guy he did last season than he did early this season. It wasn't pretty. I mean, the play he makes last night, chasing down that loose puck along the boards to spring Forster on a 2-on-1. He can't make that play 2 months ago. He just simply can't. He wouldn't have got there in time. And you can just tell, he's been skating really well the last couple of games. And Rick Tocchet's mentioned it unprompted, frankly. I think the last 2 games we've asked him about certain young guys or just maybe the young guys as a whole. And he's called out Michkov specifically, and he certainly gave him credit for what was a huge goal in the second period there, getting the Flyers lead back up to 3-1. So, like I said, there's a lot of things going right now, and the way Michkov is playing is also on that list for sure.
Kevin, the last one I got for you here, and it seems more than likely, unless something crazy happens with Columbus, they obviously had a big win last night. We're going to see Pittsburgh versus Philly in the first round, which I think is great for the NHL. It's been such a long time since we've seen it, but can you tell me like what that rivalry has been like over the past few years? Like, is this like the best possible time for this rivalry to be renewed? Even though Sid's kind of on his way out now, these young Flyers are on their way
perfect
in.
Time.
Yeah, listen, frankly, it'd be great to have. It'd be so much fun to cover. It would give this. I think a lot of the casual fans that maybe haven't been paying attention to hockey in Philadelphia would be like, "Oh, wait, the Flyers are playing the Penguins in the playoffs. Like, that's something I want to watch." Yeah. In terms of the rivalry, there was a great game that kind of it harkened back to old Flyers Penguins games earlier this season. I don't know if you guys remember, but like there was Zegras ripped off. I forget whose helmet it was. He ripped somebody's helmet off in a scrum, and there was a bunch of stuff after the whistle, and it really was like an old school Flyers Penguins game. I want to say it was around maybe November. Actually, it might have been the game Forster got hurt on December 1st. Whenever it was, there definitely seemed to be some feelings of animosity there. So if that sort of game replicates in the playoffs, then yeah, I think everyone would be in for a treat.
I think if it's Flyers Penguins, I'm gonna have to take my kids in the building and give them their first. My daughter has gotten pretty into it, and now my son just walks around the house saying "Hakti." Like that's literally all he says all day.
Now you want me to say fuck you all day?
I got it. If they end up playing the Penguins in the first round, I'm gonna have to get them in the building. Yeah. I mean that will be. This city is so pent up with aggression towards hockey. That will be a sight to see. I truly hope it happens. Like I would love to see them have some meaningful games, and I think that it's also important to call out, like, we just mentioned Barkey, we mentioned Bump, like those aren't first round picks, but those guys are contributing. Like if you want to be a serious team in a rebuild, and I still don't believe the Flyers have ever fully committed to the rebuild, but maybe they didn't. Like I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what they do over the next 2 years but you do need to go find guys in the draft. Like if you have 39 and 94 beating at a high level, you still need to go find guys in the 4th and the 5th round that are good contributors and that are cheap labor somewhere in your middle 6, because that allows you to spend more money towards the top, right? On those homegrown or on those not homegrown types of guys. So
I remember this now. Yeah, now that you mention it.
So this will be a shit show.
Everyone was calling Zegras chicken shit for this, right? That was that conversation.
Yeah, because he So this will be an old school hate filled series that I think people will like. It will almost set the tone. Like playoffs are hateful, which is one of the reasons it's so great. And that will be no different. Yeah,
but then this is also going to be one of those cases now where Gary's first round theory, it's kind of proven right. Right? You get Penguins, Flyers. I don't know if you get that in 1 through 8. I don't know.
Yeah, there's still some work to be done here. Like they still got to hold off Columbus. I mean, it's only a 2-point lead.
The fact that Detroit and Columbus got points last night, I mean, that was the worst. When you're
they play Detroit tomorrow.
But here's the thing: in those games where these teams are playing each other, the worst possible thing is something in overtime. Yeah. That's the worst outcome because that means everybody's getting points. Like when I saw that, I was just like, oh, the Flyers, like they can't catch that break on that one to give them a little bit of a pad. But yeah, that Detroit game. When is that? Is that tomorrow? Yeah. That will be a big night there. Is it in Detroit or is it in Philly? I believe it's in
Philly.
Yeah, that'll be a big
night.
Oh, no,
it's in Detroit.
Oh, are you going to that game, Kev? Are you traveling for that?
No.
Got it. Okay. Not. All right. Listen, it's great. It's great to see the Flyers be relevant right now. I think people are excited at the potential of them. Like, I think national media understands that the Flyers, again, we say this, Detroit, Philly, like Pittsburgh, you want these teams in the playoffs.
I don't know if Kevin's ever been on our show for good news, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
This is the first time Kevin's been on to talk positive.
All right, one more question. One more question for you, and then we'll let you go. If the Flyers play the Penguins in round 1, is that a winnable series for the Philadelphia Flyers, or does Crosby is he still too good and it'll be a 5-game series?
It's certainly winnable. I don't know if I would pick the Flyers to win just because of the power play and because of what Crosby does to them, historically. The Penguins still have 3 future Hall of Famers on the roster.
Potentially 4.
But who's the fourth one?
Carlson,
Letang. Oh
maybe.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, I was thinking I was thinking Carlson. I forgot Letang. You're right.
Oh, I was thinking Letang.
Yeah.
And
so,
then,
I think you guys are both probably right.
Yeah.
I think you guys are both probably right.
It would. Yeah. I mean, of course, it would be a winnable series. The way the Flyers are playing right now, I mean, I wouldn't count them out against the Penguins. The way, I mean, if you just look at what they've been doing in the last couple of weeks, and their trajectory right now is on an upward slope, right? But you can't. What the Penguins have done all season has been pretty impressive, right? Every time I look at the standings and look at hey, maybe Pittsburgh could drop off here a little bit, they win games, and they've been doing it again, right? They're on another pretty good run now, right? And because they could have dropped back down to the pack there, but they've sort of gone beyond that. So winnable, yes. I wouldn't count the Flyers out of that series. Absolutely not.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure you're a very popular guy right now. I bet you there's a lot of people hitting you up to come on their show, and I know that you've been doing the sheet a lot. We've seen that a lot as well. Yeah. So we've tried to give you a little reprieve from our show. We brought Russ on a couple of times, but your hair is a lot better than Russ's hair. So
I was just say your hair looks amazing.
This was. I slept. I got back home at 1:30 last night from Newark, and so I was But
that's bedhead right now?
Yeah.
Should be
no way.
Yeah, you should be doing hair commercials or something, Kev. All right, man.
We appreciate that,
your
guys.
time. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Take it easy. All right.